Crash and burn.
Hey everyone. So tonight, in this little mini fucking echo chamber, I am going to be discussing the 1996 film Freeway, starring Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland plays some type of youth counseling therapist slash serial rapist slash serial killer who goes by the name of Bob. He has a last name too, but I can't remember what it is. And Reese Witherspoon, she plays Vanessa, and she has grown up in a house full of sex abuse and drug abuse and just an overall sense of, neglect. And her mom, played by Amanda Plummer, she does love Reese Witherspoon, but her mom is a junkie slash prostitute who's in and out of prison, all the while her significant other, some jackass by the name of Larry, has been sexually abusing Vanessa her whole life. It's raining outside, so I hear shit, so I have to kind of turn because I can't see, anything here. What the hell is that? So Amanda Plummer, her mom, does care about her, but she's in and out of prison. Her stepfather, he's a scuzzy, child-molesting piece of shit. They're both hooked on, I'm assuming it's meth, because when they're being arrested at the start, they're acting really crazed and all sort of skittery and typical meth abuse. And that's when the movie really gets going. That's when Vanessa is going to be placed in foster care, but she escapes and takes off and hits the road because she's going to go to Stockton, because that's apparently where her grandmother lives. And that's when she meets Kiefer Sutherland's character, Bob. He picks her up after her car dies on the freeway. And because he's some type of psychologist, youth therapist type, he gets her to open up in ridiculous detail about her history of sex abuse concerning her and her mom's boyfriend or her stepfather or whatever the fuck, this Larry asshole's name, this Larry guy. And the descriptions are so vivid and they're so, my God, they're so plain and they're so obvious that this would be just about the most disturbing movie I have ever seen. Had this movie not had the goofiest sort of circus tent tone to it that I've ever come across in a movie that has to do with a serial killer who's sort of raping and killing his way up and down the I-95. I think they're calling him the I-95 killer. I think it's the I-95 anyways. And then with the graphic descriptions of sex abuse, you would think that this movie would be it would have more in common with Requiem for a Dream or Spun than it would, say, the movie Parents, Bob Balaban's movie from the late 80s. And the reason that I say that this movie has more in common with Parents than it does a more harrowing film like Requiem for a Dream is that despite the subject matter, this movie is tackled like it's all some kind of quirky joke. Like the sex abuse and the neglect and the drug abuse and the serial killing. It's all approached from a very, I don't want to say comedic aspect, because this movie is not a comedy, but at the same time, Danny Elfman does the score for this too, and it is the quirkiest, zaniest sort of Oingo Boingo-ish score that he could ever have done for a movie, again, that has to do predominantly with serial killing and sex abuse. I mean, there's so much to be said about this movie. It's just so oddly assembled. It's incredibly well made. And I know that Oliver Stone signed on as one of the executive producers to push this movie back then. And this movie is deserving of a wide audience. And Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland's performances are great. I mean, Brooke Shields shows up for 30 seconds. She plays Kiefer Sutherland's wife. Amanda Plummer's amazing too, even though, and she's gone, she was still really good. And so the performances are amazing and the writing is spot on and the dialogue is great. But, I mean, what the fuck am I watching? This, like I said, the movie, specifically the movie that this reminded me the most of was Parents. Despite the fact that Parents is sort of this nightmarish take on growing up in the 50s with cannibal parents, which has nothing to do with this movie. What the hell was that? Oh my God, is it the Rapture? Is that the fucking trumpets? Because I'm not ready for the Rapture. I'm so unprepared for the Rapture. That wasn't the trumpets of the fucking Rapture. Jesus Christ, I don't know what the hell that was. Had to be a horn. because I think the trumpets would continuously blow, I think. Oh, I completely lost my train of thought. I was saying how this movie had a lot in common with Parents, and there's a reason that I specifically said, fuck, now I can't remember. The bottom line is, this is the quirkiest, zaniest, least serious film, that I've ever seen tackling sex abuse and drug abuse and serial killing. I mean, at one point, she's in a restaurant with Bob, Kiefer Sutherland's character, and they're having something to eat. And she says, oh, my real dad, he was killed and such, and I have a picture of him. Would you like to see it? And Sutherland's like, of course I would. And she pulls out a picture of Richard Speck. And she's under the impression that that's her birth father. I don't know. This movie is so zany. It's like if Tim Burton made a movie about sex abuse. I don't know. The movie's amazing. Check this out. I did not expect this movie to play out like that. I had heard about this movie on and off so much back then that when I finally got around to checking it out, I'd really made the assumption that I knew which direction this movie was going to move into, but fuck, was I wrong. This movie is like all over the map. It's amazing. Like I said, it kicks ass. So look, I'm going to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for way too long while I discussed the 1996 film Freeway, starring Reese Witherspoon, Kiefer Sutherland, and Amanda Plummer. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But please, most importantly, do not forget that the world is a better place because you are in it. I'm going to go. Have a good day.